you all's right is Franklin Perry. So Mr. Perry, if you wouldn't, or Dr. Perry, if you wouldn't mind starting this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. And I'm going to do this in a minute. My name is Franklin Perry. I am from Newton County, born and raised here, educated here, left here in '64 on a band scholarship, went to South Carolina State, received my BS degree in music education. Became a band director, was drafted into the military for 2 years in the United States Army. After that, came back to Virginia State University and received my master's. Began to teach again, and then after that, went into the automobile business and started as a salesman and went to owning my own business. I did own a Chrysler Plymouth store in Virginia and also a Lincoln Mercury store in Montgomery, Alabama. But was not satisfied, knew that my calling was working with children. And my daddy, Reverend Dewey Perry, always reminded me of that. It's not about money, it's about helping somebody else. So I got back into education, became a teacher, technology teacher, assistant principal, principal of a high school in Alabama, had the opportunity to come back to Covington, principal of Clements, where there were 475 schools in Georgia. Clements was ranked number 50. Went on to be superintendent in Americus, Georgia, and also superintendent in Twiggs County. Have been assistant superintendent in a large district. Been through the superintendent's program locally for 2 years and nationally, national superintendent.
Thank you very much. Mr. Turner?
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, and thank you, the Chamber and Covington News, for putting this forum on. First of all, I'd like to say that my name is Almond Turner. I was born and reared here in Newton County. I've been here all my life. I left for approximately a year and a half, moved back here, which time I got interested in children, and as a matter of fact, at the time I was a police officer, still is, and I've dealt with the PAL program, the Police Athletic League, where we dealt with children. I have a big interest in our children because, as you've heard a lot of the other people talk about the future of Newton County. And children, we need to educate them, make sure they have a quality education in order for them to be successful in Newton County and in their lives. I'm not going to talk about what I'm going to do because my record will speak for itself. I've been very actively involved in creating and implementing different programs to improve the quality of education that our children are receiving. And I also have had the support of the citizens, so I'm very involved in the community.
Thank you. You can hold it. You're going to receive our first question. First question. The Chamber has been a strong supporter of the Newton County College and Career Academy as well as the Theme School because of their ability to help us recruit industry. Please tell us your vision for these two schools and how you would build upon their success.
Over the years, I've been very supportive of making sure we have choices for children. The College Career Academy is one of those choices that's given children an opportunity to either receive a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree. If they're not interested in that 4-year degree or 2-year degree, they can receive a trade. We have a number of different opportunities: mechanics, nursing, culinary arts, you name it, they can receive this type training. Baxter coming in here, as you heard before, people talking about the fact that we don't have a number of students or people in this county to take those jobs. This is one thing that the Career Academy is going to do, is going to create an opportunity for those children to develop those skills so they can go into these plants. The theme school, as you mentioned about the theme school, again, is a choice. We need to give students choices so that they can be successful. All children are not college material. They don't want to go to college, but we need to give them an option. With the Career Academy and the theme school, this is another opportunity in order for them to receive those skills and abilities to be successful in life.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Mr. Perry, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Please.
Okay. The Chamber has been a strong supporter of the Newton County College and Career Academy as well as the theme school because of their ability to help us recruit industry. Please tell us your vision for these two schools and how you would build upon their success.
Okay, my vision would be to continue both the academy and the theme schools. But what I will tell you is that we have to start education from the bottom, our elementary schools, our middle schools, because when they get to high school, one of the requirements to get into the academy is that you have to be on track to graduate. And also, you have to have a certain GPA, and you don't have, your discipline has to be in line. So, you know, in order to really be effective, we've got to start from kindergarten, making sure that students are on board, they're kept up, that they're not 3 or 4 grade levels behind, because all of this, even the academy, only certain students are going to be able to take advantage of it. In light that we have a 64% graduation rate, then that means that 40% of the children are not going to be able to get there. So I support it, but I say we have to fix education from the very beginning so those kids are ready to take advantage of that.
Thank you. You can hold the mic. You mentioned test scores, graduation rates. When the Office of Economic Development at the Chamber goes to recruit industry, the issues of schools is always a major discussion. Explain how you would raise test scores, increase graduation rates, and raise SAT scores.
I've had experience doing that, and one of the things that I alluded to earlier, we have to, first of all, get our students to understand that education is serious business. It's not something, you know, teachers are working very hard, but students have to come ready to learn. One of the things that I would be proposing, even on the local level and even state and national level, the piece that I think is missing is motivation. I think somewhere in the curriculum, we need to put motivation into our, we have too many students sitting just doing nothing. So Benjamin E. Mays, years ago, understood at Morehouse that education and inspiration must go together. And for that reason, every freshman, even at Morehouse now, have to take a inspiration course. So that would be one thing that I would do. The other thing is get parents involved. I'm a salesman by nature. We got to get parents involved. We got to go to them. We got to help them understand what they need to do. That's the second thing. The third thing, I think, is supporting teachers. You know, teachers should not have to be faced with distractions, you know, where they can't teach. That's one thing that I would do, is look for policies that we would be able to deal with difficult students and move them somewhere to where teachers would be able to teach.
Before you hand over the mic, I want to ask a clarifying question. You opened that answer that you have had experience with those raising those scores, SATs. Can you verify that experience?
Yes, I can. When I was in the Superintendent in Americas, we raised the graduation rate, and we also raised the graduation rate, both in Sumter County and in Twiggs County. And the way we did it primarily was getting students to understand that school is serious. It's not the nice buildings. You come to school, you work. You behave, you keep your hands to yourself, no violence. You understand that grown folks are the ones in charge, not the students.
Thank you. Mr. Turner, I'll ask the question because it's been a while since I raised it. When industry looks to locate in Newton County, schools are always a major focus. Explain how you plan to raise test scores, graduation rates, and SAT scores.
Sure. As a matter of fact, we just received the CRTC test results, and over the past 2 years, they have steadily been increasing. Like I mentioned before, I'm not talking about what I'm going to do, it's what I've done in the past. You are absolutely correct that the industry look at the test scores. Here's some obstacles that we're faced with. Some of you probably read about the test scores of Newton County, the graduation rate being 60-something%. It was changed due to a new system they're using. Our graduation rate was 85-86%. But this new system that they're using, if you look at it, is down to 60-something. Don't let that fool you, because we're doing a lot of things to improve our test scores. As a matter of fact, I believe in speaking about facts. I have information here. If any of you all would like to see a number of things that we are doing, it's available to you. Not the fact of things that I'm saying I'm going to do. I can show you facts of things that we're doing to improve our students' test scores. Also, we need to be supportive of our teachers, make sure they have the equipment, the material that they need. After-school programs has been very successful to help us to increase the test scores of our children.
Mr. Turner, continuing on, similar question I've asked everybody this evening. Do you have any criminal convictions in your past?
No, I do not.
And anything you need to disclose to the public that would make us cause for concerns when setting budgets or setting policy for our students to live with?
No, as a matter of fact, I've been very instrumental in making sure that we develop policies that are fair and equitable to all students, teachers, and administrators. And I guess I learned this through the way I was reared by my mother and father, and that was about having good character, because your character is going to speak for itself. So I always tried to carry myself in a very, very respectful way, and I think I've earned that respect because I'm very responsive to the needs of the community, and I will continue to do that.
Great. Mr. Perry, how about yourself? Ever had a criminal conviction in your past?
No, sir, I have not.
And is there anything this audience and this county needs to know about you with regards to your ability to set budgets and set policies for our administrators and teachers and students to live under?
Well, I would simply say to you that, again, budget, business, and finance have been my situation. I was in 2 school districts that was very, very poor and had a deficit when I took over, and in 1 year, we were out of that. So I know finance. I will tell you, however, that I think as a board, what we do set the tone for the whole district. And when you talk about character, you're talking about students watching how we operate, how we solve problems. And to me, that's a big thing, because we have to model what we expect from our children. So that's an important piece to me. I would expect our superintendent, our teachers, and everybody that work into the system to model that behavior for our students. I think that's just most important.
You can hold the mic. We're talking about setting a good example as a board and a superintendent. In your opinion, how is the current board operating with regards to making the right decisions and pushing for the quality of educational opportunities?
Well, it depends upon what you compare it to. I've had some boards that I think was worse than what we have, so maybe I'm not the one to speak. But I will tell you, and I don't want to criticize, but I feel like, again, there are some situations that's going on that I think should have been addressed or should be addressed in a way. So I can't say that I would give them an A. What I will say is that we need, first of all, to be the example. And if there's issues, one thing I learned very early on, you have to solve the issues. The longer you let them, the old folks used to say, if you let the cows get out the pasture, don't let them get out the pasture, because if you let them get out the pasture, it's hard to round them up. So to answer your question, I'm disappointed as a citizen in the board. I just have to say that, because I think there's some issues that we have not addressed in a manner. And I think getting along with each other is the other piece. You got to be able to collaborate, and I think that's the piece that I bring to the table, is to be able to collaborate with the rest of the board members to say, hey, this is what we ought to be doing, and this is how we do it.
And I'm going to push you on that just a little bit, because you noted, you started to begin to tell us about getting along. What other issues do you see? And then I'll give Mr. Turner a chance to respond to that.
Well, I think there's a situation, there's some situations going on with an employee. And the way I was always taught is that the board hires a superintendent. That's their function. And it's up to the superintendent to run the day-to-day operation of the school, meaning that any issues that you have should go to the superintendent and not to the board, and the board solve those things. So I see that this situation that's going on is something that should have been solved. It's affecting children. Perception is everything. We do not have a good perception in our school district. I walked my district. Parents are not satisfied. Business people are not satisfied. The perception is not good. And the board has to take responsibility of that.
So, Mr. Turner, Dr. Perry says you have a perception problem and also have maybe kick some issues down the road. I mean, in reflecting back over your 4 years, in reflecting back over your 4 years, I mean, what would you have done differently?
Well, first of all, like I said, I've been on the board. This is my 16th year. And without going into any details, first of all, there are some issues here that I think is creating some perception to the community. And I find it very frustrating that 4 or 5 or 6 people are putting these blogs in the paper, which is creating a lot of havoc in our community. Now, having said that, as Mr. Perry alluded to a little bit ago, about the superintendent is hired to run the school, he is exactly right. I have no problems with that. That's what the board's responsibility is, to make sure he runs the school properly. However, when there is an issue with policy and the superintendent is not following policy, then the board has the right and responsibility to respond and try to correct that policy. Not saying that we'll go against the superintendent, no. But if you read in the bylaws, that's one of the responsibilities of the board, is to set policy. Do I have 45 seconds of? Okay. So, having said that, I'm just totally frustrated that these bloggers are putting all this information out here, and a lot of it's not true. That some of the issues that they are talking about, we have already addressed them. So we can't get caught up in the lawsuit. That has nothing to do with the operation of the Board of Education. It has nothing to do with it. Only thing we can deal with is policy, to make sure any allegations that are made, that they're properly investigated, and the truth comes out. If any of you want to know any information about that, it's available to you. So all you got to do is just call and get that information.
Okay, thank you. How about a minute for closing response or closing remarks?
The Board of Education, we have a responsibility to making sure each and every child get a quality education. And a young man by the name of Stephen Peters, he presented a very profound illustration. So if I may, I'd like to show you this illustration that he taught us. What do we have here? 2 $10 bills, correct? Okay, this one right here, both of them are real, smooth, pressed. Okay, I'm gonna take this one here, ball it up. What do we have here now? 2 $10 bills. The point I'm trying to make here is that the boards of education, the schools, the teachers, the principals, superintendent, we can't choose and pick how students look, what background they come from. We receive them, all of them have some wrinkles, all of them have some creases. They value the same. I have the responsibility of making sure that all our students receive a quality education. So please, if you want our school system to continue the success it has been over the years, vote for Alderman Turner, District 4, Newton County Board of Education. Thank you. May God bless you. And thank you for my wife for being a big supporter of me all these years. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Dr. Perry?
Go ahead, clap for him. That's good. Go ahead. And I simply say to you, you know, this thing is serious and real dear to me, because I would have never been able to do the things that I did. I went to a 4-room school in Oxford, Georgia, up until the 4th grade, until they built R.L. Cousins. We didn't have any heat. We didn't have a bathroom. We had to go outside in the woods. And yet, I went and got a BS, a master's, and a doctorate, and became the highest office that you can receive in public education, and that's the superintendency. If I could do that with the buildings that we have, that Mr. Turner talked about, with all of the programs that we have, why are we not doing better? And I refuse to sit back with the skills that God has given me, and I've been able to study this thing. I cannot sit back and not offer my services to Newton County. The fact of the matter is, 64% of our children are not graduating. I have 45 seconds, right? Okay. The fact of the matter is 64% of our students are graduates, so we do have some people that's not. We do have a perception problem. We do have a communication problem. So I ask you, if you're not satisfied, like I'm not, I ask you if you're in District 4 to go out, not in July the 31st, but go out early voting, July the 9th, and vote for Franklin Perry. Thank you so much for listening.